Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Thank you for tuning into this video. Investing into silver could be the chance, the opportunity of a lifetime. 40% of my subscribers have been subscribed for less than 2 months. So there's a lot of new people into the world of precious metals. But have you arrived too late? Did you miss the boat? Did you miss that glorious opportunity to buy silver cheap enough to really make some money? That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. But before, I got to show you something. If you want to look fashionable expressing your love for gold and silver, look no further. This is my merch store. I got tons of different types of stuff, hoodies, t-shirts, mugs, everything, you name it. It's also affordable. So let's jump into this article. So this is David Smith, right? He's the senior analyst at the Morgan Report and also contributes to Money Metals. And there's a saying that it starts off with, I do think it's the chance of a lifetime for investors now. And that's so important to look at. Now, not later, not next year, not early next year. Now, if you don't invest now, you are going to miss the best chance, the best opportunity of your entire life, and you will live with regret, kicking yourself in the butt, wishing that you took our advice. Precious metals, especially silver, is a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. And it's going to explode sooner than later, just like the Bitcoin boom. You know how many people missed the boat? How many people wish they could go back and buy Bitcoin at $1,800 when I was telling everyone to? Probably most of the world. You don't want to be one of those people. Right now, it hasn't happened yet for gold and silver, so you still have a chance. Most people won't have a chance, but I'm telling you beforehand, we still have the inside scoop where most people are going to start buying silver way after it's exploded. So we still have time. So don't waste that time. So silver has experienced strong price momentum this year, but so far the white metal hasn't been able to break through the key $30 per ounce level. For David Smith, it's only a matter of time before that happens, and investors should make sure their portfolios are ready. Preparation is the most important, or one of the most important things. You gotta be prepared. The more you try to push something off, act like it's not happening, out of sight, out of mind, the more you're setting yourself up for failure. You gotta be prepared for everything. Just like I say, don't buy a coin until you already know how you're gonna sell that coin. Before I even buy a coin on APMEX, I'm thinking about how I can sell that. Because if I buy it just blindly, I might get stuck with something that's way too hard or a market that I'm just not familiar or comfortable with selling to. So you got to be prepared. So the resistance level around $30, and whether that happens within the next week or two, or it takes a month, hard to say. He told Investing News Network. Once it gets a couple of closes above $30, I think everybody is going to be jumping on board, the big funds and everything. And that's so true. That's exactly what I think is going to happen. And I think the presidential election is going to be the thing that pushes that over. That's going to be the deciding factor. That's going to be the icing on the cake. The U.S. presidential election. Anytime there's chaos, controversy, people don't really trust governments, banks. They turn to gold and silver, especially when the price is rising higher. You don't want to be one of those people jumping in while everyone else does. So, with this said, and you know silver is going to go to 30, probably much higher quickly after that, what are you going to do about it right now? Because right now silver is sitting around $26. In his view, market participants should be cautious about trading in and out of silver right now. He anticipates that the precious metal will keep running quickly after it moves through $30, and ultimately, there may not be a time to get back in. See, this is why this is so important. This might be your last chance to buy silver for quote-unquote cheap, for relatively cheap. This is huge news. Not saying it's going to happen, not saying you need to buy all your silver right now because silver is going to explode tomorrow. No, I'm not going to mislead you. I'm not going to misrepresent what's happening here or exaggerate it. I got to give the honest opinion that that is a very plausible case. Since last year, I was talking about something big that was going to happen in the year 2020 that was definitely going to set gold and silver off and running. And this was before I even knew there was going to be a global pandemic. And that factor was the 2020 presidential election. And that's arriving extremely quick. So not only a global pandemic, but also that presidential election could kick silver off the races, off and running. And that's looking like it's going to happen more and more and more, with prices already hovering $27 and is still, a ticking time bomb. So there's a lot of things just setting up. The stars are aligning. The planets are aligning. The stars are aligning. The perfect storm is here for silver to take action, to really go up, and you don't want to miss that opportunity. So when this thing really gets underway and decides to challenge the high of $30 and into the $40, I don't think it's going to take any prisoners. Looking at what's been driving silver this year, Smith identified factors related to both supply and demand. On the supply side, he mentioned that silver was in its 4th year of declining production, even before this pandemic. Right? We all know that. If you watch my videos, you've known this. Meanwhile, demand has been high enough that it's been hard to get physical metal. Smith emphasized that the important thing for investors to do is be prepared. I do think it's the chance of a lifetime for investors now, and it's a asymmetric chance of a lifetime. You don't need to mortgage the house to do well. You can buy a modest position of physical and a few good mining stocks and hold on. You may be shocked at what you see in just a few years in terms of the appreciation on both of those metrics. And that's so true. A lot of people underestimate silver prices. They say, oh, if I make, let's say you invested $1,000, $5,000, whatever. If I make, 20% profits, I'll be happy. You got to remember, now I'm not trying to hype silver up, but silver has a lot more potential, is a lot more valuable than I think people give it credit. $100 silver is definitely possible. That's not a crazy number. That actually isn't a crazy number. If we look at what has put silver in the position of $50 in the past, what's happening during that time in the economy, the dollar index, the stock market volatility. Right now, the times we're living in, $100 silver wouldn't even, it wouldn't even make me somewhat surprised. Not even a little bit. We're putting together $1 trillion stimulus packages right now. Back in 2011, it was $1 billion stimulus packages that led to $50 silver. Things are just much more extreme right now. Plus, we have this presidential election. So, I also have another article I want to share real quick. This is a very analytical, very graph. It's all based around the graphs, the chart candles, the triangle formations, and it's talking about if silver will rise again. I'll also link this in the description because it is important, right? When I talk about price forecasts or price predictions, we will never be able to accurately tell because we don't have a crystal ball. We cannot time travel in the future and see what silver's price is. But the most accurate way to foresee the price, especially in the short term, is combining a little bit of everything. Looking at what's happening in the economy, applying that to also what's happening with the charts, and then a little bit of media. What's happening, right? What's the news talking about? All of these things combined can give you a very accurate, educated guess on silver's price. So this one really goes into this. It's very interesting. I'm going to summarize a lot of it because it is a lengthy article and it talks a lot about things you won't even know the word for. It's very, very analytical. So my July 27th Kitco commentary is silver near a top, posited an affirmative answer, and the white metal made a new closing high on August 10th. The column also presented a technique and criterion for confirming that the top could hold, at least for the near term. So he's saying that he wrote this article and he's saying that the top could hold. As explained below, the same technique applied to recent price action suggests there may indeed be more drama ahead for silver. So he's saying that not even by the end of the year, there could be a lot more drama, a lot of roller coaster rides, a lot of emotional baggage coming. And if you apply this principle, this situation, with the presidential election, it only makes sense, and it's only more fuel to the fire. So gold and silver have already enjoyed an extraordinary year. So on an intraday basis, COMEX gold advanced 43%, right? Silver rallied 154%. Crazy stuff. So the 3-month beta of silver relative to gold rose from less than unity in mid-May to over 3.0. This implies that silver gains are significantly amplified with respect to its precious metal cousin, as evidenced by the performance from the March lows. So one of the biggest tools to look at the prices comparing gold and silver, the correlation, right, the correlating factors from what drives prices all the way down to supply and demand. It's the gold to silver ratio, and it gives great insight. It's a great tool to use. How many ounces of silver equals to 1 ounce of gold. So right now the ratio is 72 to 1. And that's a very high ratio. Not as high as it was earlier this year at 125 to 1, but it's still a pretty high ratio. That's me kind of downplaying it. To be honest, in today's time, that's a pretty average ratio. It's high in my opinion because I know the ratio should be a lot lower, but in today's time, that's a pretty average ratio, 72 to 1. Mid-70s, that's where it usually is nowadays. Back in the day, historical times, biblical times, it was around 8 to 1, 16 to 1. But we're talking about a whole new era, a whole new generation. So as explained in the prior commentary, monitoring the stability of the gold to silver ratio is a powerful technique for confirming ratio and price local extrema. And that's what I was kind of just saying. The gold to silver ratio tells you two things: whether gold is overvalued or gold is undervalued. Same with silver. Right now, with the ratio 72 to 1, it shows that gold is overvalued, silver's undervalued, so that means silver has to outperform gold. Another way to look at it, instead of using the word undervalued, say underpriced. So gold is overpriced and silver's underpriced. Since gold is overpriced, you don't want to invest in the gold right now. You want to buy the underpriced thing because then you actually can get it for cheap and sell it at its top. You don't want to invest into something when it's the highest price it's ever been, because you're buying the top. You're buying it after it's already exploded. There's not much, it's not very likely it's going to explode higher after it is already exploded. Silver hasn't exploded yet, so that's why you want to buy the undervalued, the underpriced metal, and then after it explodes, you can sell it or whatever you want to do. So here he goes into a lot of graphs, a lot of very detailed, very difficult stuff. He really dives into it. If you are into charts and stuff, the link is in the description. I'll just go over some of the key indicators. So major trajectory turns in the unstable quadrant typically occur when the ratio and price are near their respective extreme. These highs and lows generally hold through a period of ratio stabilization, typically weeks or months. Major turns are confirming indicator, anticipatory and coincidental, or lagging, but usually within several market days of the high or the low. So what this all means is that the trajectory was still unstable. There still is going to be a lot of ups and downs coming, right? There's going to be a lot of ups and downs. So the failed turn is indicated by the red dot or the ellipse. And on August 10th, a new gold to silver ratio low and silver price high of $29.26 per ounce occurred the market day before the third major turn. It is noteworthy that the gold to silver ratio low at the third extreme is remarkably close to its 10-year average, which is 70.2 versus 69.5 ounce per ounce. During the March market panic, the ratio hit a peak of 124, like I was talking about earlier. Moving down so swiftly means silver rapidly gained relative value compared to gold. And that's exactly what happened. Silver outperformed gold. We all knew it would. Anytime it's above 100, we know it's going to correct pretty soon, because that's way too high. This breaks a long-term trend of gold gaining value on silver established from April 2011, and that was when silver was $50 also, from the 2008 credit crisis. A very bullish indicator for the white metal. So here's case number one. The short-term stability of the gold to silver ratio persists for some time. Case number 2, volatility could return to the precious metal as the trajectory re-enters the unstable quadrant for a 4th try at a major turn this year. Silver might plunge to a new low during the market liquidation like March, or just be caught up in a significant market rotation away from safe havens. But you got to remember, silver is an industrial metal, so even if people steer away from safe havens, silver could still benefit. Gold won't, but silver still could. Case number 3. The last case exhibits a similar trajectory and volatility as case number 2, except gold and silver post new highs. See, it really does show interesting dynamics that so many different things, so many different factors influence prices. It's hard to say what will and what won't. So, anyways, you can see this article is very lengthy. It's very deep, and I like this. Even though I don't understand all of it, I like how you can still get a summary of what he's talking about, what this means, and that is very important, not only to learn all this, to kind of get an inside scoop on what's actually happening with the numbers, but also applying this to what's coming up. Like, if I didn't know the 2020 presidential election was coming up, this information wouldn't be as valuable to me, because it's kind of just going off of price dynamics. But knowing that all this is happening, and there's a huge event coming up in less than a month or so, that's going to drastically affect the price of silver, drastically affect the economy, this is where we can get something cooking. This is where the stars are aligning, and that's what I was talking about earlier in the video, how you can accurately predict what's happening or what will happen with silver. So no, you did not miss the boat yet. No, it is not too late to invest, but it soon will be. You do not want to miss the opportunity, the chance of a lifetime. So anyways, before we wrap this video up, check out my merch. If you want to look fashionable, expressing your love for gold and silver, check this stuff out. This is the newest shirt that just got launched. It has a lady holding the dollar on the front. On the back, it says "Fake," exposing the true value of the dollar. We even got a peach type. We have so many different things. The dollar crash symbol. There's just so many good things on my store. I definitely think you guys will enjoy them. The link's in the description. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up here. Thank you so much for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. Smash the like button. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.